This is the modified body scan meditation. Go ahead and sit or lie down comfortably, allowing your body to shift and settle as it needs, stretching and twisting, and allowing yourself to settle into this space, into this exercise. Go ahead and close your eyes, and we'll start with our 3 deep inhales and exhales. Inhaling in through the nose, bringing the breath all the way to our belly or our pelvis if we can, and then exhaling out through the mouth. So let's begin. Inhale in through the nose, and exhale through your mouth. Inhale again through your nose, and exhale through your mouth. And one more deep inhale in through your nose, and exhale through your mouth. Allow your breathing to normalize in a calm, gentle way. Continuing to inhale in through your mouth, inhale in through your nose, and exhale through your mouth, gently and calmly. Go ahead and focus on your breath for a few more moments, noticing how it feels on your gentle inhale and how it feels on your gentle exhale. Now, I would like you to shift your attention to your toes. Go ahead and wiggle your toes a little bit, curling them and then stretching them. Just notice how that feels to wiggle your toes, to move them about. And now give them a really tight squeeze, curl them super tight, and then stretch them out as far as you can and release. We'll do that 2 more times. Squeeze your toes, curl them in as tight as you can. Now stretch them out as far as you can and release. And one more tight curl of those toes. And stretch them really far and release. And go ahead and move your foot about, your whole foot, from your ankle, moving and twisting and engaging your whole foot, both of your feet. And now I want you to tighten the muscles of your feet as tight as you can, and then stretch them out as far as you can, and release. And again, squeeze the muscles of your feet as tight as you can, and stretch them out as far as you can, and release. And one more tight squeeze of those foot muscles, squeezing them, squeezing them, squeezing them. And now stretching them, stretching them, stretching them, and release. Now let's move our focus up to our calves and shins. Go ahead and kind of wiggle that part of your body around, moving your calves and shins, the lower half of your leg, about a little bit, shaking it if you like, bouncing it, moving them. And now I want you to squeeze the muscles of your lower leg as tight as you can. And then stretch them out. And one of the ways you can stretch them out is by pushing your heels out and your feet and just stretching, 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 and release. Now go ahead and tighten those lower leg muscles again as tight as you can. And now stretch them, stretch them, stretch them out, and release. And one more tight, tight, squeeze, 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 and stretch, 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 and release. And we're moving up to our upper legs, to our thighs, our hamstrings. Not quite to our butt yet. We're still focusing on our legs. Move them about, wiggle them if you like. Get a sense of them in space. Notice them. We aren't judging, we're noticing. We're noticing how our legs feel right now. And now I want you to squeeze your thighs, squeeze those hamstrings, squeeze those quads as tight as you can. And now stretch them out as far as you can, trying to stretch that whole leg. And release. And again, tighten, 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 tighten. And stretch, 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 stretch. And release. And tighten again. One more time, tightening all the muscles in your upper leg, just focusing on your upper leg. Tighten, tighten, tighten. And now stretch, stretch, stretch. And release. Now just notice how your whole leg feels, from your toes all the way up to where your legs connect at your hip bone. And allow that whole part of your body, both your legs, your feet, your ankles, all of it, to just rest and relax. Now we're going to turn our focus to our hips and our butts. And I want you to wiggle a little bit, wiggle those hips. Shift your booty. And now squeeze those muscles. Squeeze your hip muscles and your butt muscles tight, 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 tight. And now try to stretch them in your sitting or lying position and release. And again, squeeze, 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 squeeze. And stretch, 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 stretch. And release. One more time, squeezing your hips and your butt super tight as you can. Not so you're hurting yourself, but just so you're engaging those muscles, so you're feeling them. And now stretch them and notice how they stretch. Feel them stretching and release. I'm going to move up to your tummy now. I want you to notice your tummy. If you want, you can do a little bit of twisting to be able to feel your whole belly in space. Notice it. If you like, lay your hands on it. Notice how it feels. And now I want you to pull in those stomach muscles and squeeze them, squeeze them, squeeze them, squeeze them. And now push them out, stretching, 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 and release. And again, pull in, pull in, pull in, tighten, 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 and push out, push out, push out, and release. And one more squeezing, tightening, and squeezing and tightening, and then pushing out and stretching and pushing and stretching, and release. I'm going to move up to your chest now. This is where your breath is, right? So notice your breath. Notice the rise and fall of your chest right now. Turn your focus back to your breath for just a moment. Check in that you're inhaling in through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Make sure you're not holding your breath right now. And now turn your focus back to the muscles of your chest. I want you to squeeze those chest muscles, which will also engage your upper back. And that is great. So go ahead and squeeze those chest muscles. And now stretch them out and release. And squeeze them again. And stretch them out and release. And one more squeeze in and stretch out and release. Now turn your focus to your shoulders. Kind of wiggle them a little bit. Notice them in space. And now go ahead and bring those shoulders all the way up to your ears. All the way, all the way, all the way. And now pull them down as far as you can and release. Again, you're not stretching yourself to the point of hurting. You want to stop before it hurts, but you want to stretch and squeeze. So let's pull those shoulders up to your ears again and pull them down again and release. And one more time, bringing those shoulders up to your ears and pulling them back down and release. Now, I want you to turn your focus to your fingers. And go ahead and wiggle your fingers. I want you to make a super tight fist. And then open your hands and stretch out your hands as much as you can. And release. If you want, you can shake out your hands a little bit after each time. And go ahead and make that fist again. And then stretch your hands out again. And release. One more fist. And one more stretch, like jazz hands. And release. And turn your focus on your forearm. I want you to squeeze those forearm muscles as best you can, however you can. And then stretch them out and release. Squeeze them again, stretch them out, and release. And one more, squeeze those muscles and stretch them out and release. Turn your focus to your upper arm, to your bicep and tricep. Notice how they feel right now. Notice how they're connected to your shoulder, to your elbow. Now go ahead and squeeze those muscles. And now stretch them out and release. And squeeze again and stretch and release. And one more squeeze and stretch and release. We're going to move up to our face. We're going to skip our neck for just a moment. We'll come back. Right now, I want you to scrunch your whole face up as tight as you can, like you just ate something really super sour and you're scrunching your whole face up, bringing your eyebrows together. Just scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. And now open your whole face up and stretch it all as wide as you can, making an ah sound as you do it. Ah. And release. Now scrunch, 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 scrunch. And stretch, 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 stretch. And release. And one more. Scrunch, 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 scrunch. And stretch, 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 stretch. And release. Now, we're going to go back to our neck like I promised. I want you to notice how your neck feels. I want you to notice how it connects to your shoulders. I want you to try to tighten your neck muscles. Whatever that looks like for you, whatever that feels like for you. Maybe it's just imagining that you're tightening them right now. So go ahead and tighten those neck muscles. And now stretch those neck muscles out. Perhaps you're moving your head from side to side, bringing each ear down to your shoulders, or bringing your chin down to your chest, or you're pointing your chin up to the ceiling. And now release. And again, tighten those neck muscles. And now stretch them. However it feels good for you, however you're called to do it right now. And release. And one more time, tightening those muscles. And now stretching. And release. Now we're going to turn our focus on our entire body all at once. I want you to tighten, 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 tighten every muscle in your body as best you can. And now I want you to stretch your whole body out as best you can. And release. And one more, tighten everything up. Perhaps you curl yourself up in a ball, super, super, super tight. And now stretch yourself out all the way, stretching, 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 and release. And one more, squeeze, 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 and stretch, 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 and release. Now, focus again on your breath. Perhaps it's a little more elevated after that, perhaps not. Just notice how it feels. Notice your body. Notice how it's feeling right now. Notice your mood. Not judging, we're simply noticing. Wiggle any parts of you that need a little wiggle. Now we're going to do our 3 closing breaths. Again, deeply inhaling in through the nose and forcing the exhale out through our mouth. So go ahead and inhale in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Inhale again through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And one more deep inhale in through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. When you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes and slowly sit or stand up. Coming back into the room, back into space and time. Back into the here and now, while still staying connected to your body and your breath, and go on about your day. Namaste.